Hello, everyone. We are Dale and Carrie Spoonmore, the creators of the From Seed to Spoon mobile app. Last year, we did a lot of garden tours, and we wanted to do a lot this year, and we haven't done any. This is our first one, so we're just going to do one. So, Carrie's going to take over the camera now. This is Carrie, by the way. Say hi.
Hi.
She didn't know she was going to be on camera. She's really mad at me right now. So, anyway, she's going to take over the camera. We're going to go show what our garden looks like. So, the sun's going down. We got to hurry. We're just going to do this. Our kid just went to bed. Can
Yep.
we?
Let's do it.
Okay, here you go. Did I stop it?
Nope. Oh, and it's still zooming in on me.
Oh, looky there.
Here we go. Okay.
Okay, let's go. All right, over here we have our main entrance to the garden. We had to build a fence because our dog was getting into our beds. We got a dog to solve a mouse problem, then we had a dog problem. It's a long story. Anyway, this is our kind of entrance coming into here. So this is Carrie's bed that I built for her last year for Mother's Day or something. I don't know. I built it for you though.
It was
Um,
an anniversary.
Anniversary.
Yes.
I don't know if the audio is gonna pick you up because I've got a new fancy audio thing here. I've got an AirPod,
I'll
so
shout then.
yeah, just yell really loud. So we've got some grass over here. I don't know what kind of grass, some sort of cool grass. Lily's coming up here. Really, the main thing are these arches that we have here, and we have morning glories are going to be growing up. Both of these. We've got a lot of morning glories over here that came up from stuff we had last year. So this kind of leads into the garden way. Kara really likes arches. That's why we have so many arches everywhere. She likes it. Easy brownie points. So this is the main garden area. Carrie, can you kind of just like pan for a second and just kind of show the whole thing? Good camera work, I see. Very smooth.
Thank you very much.
It's nice. Okay, so this is Brooklyn's prize cabbage. There's a slug on it. Hold on, I'm saving Brooklyn's cabbage. So anyway, there's a whole story behind this cabbage, and we have a whole storyline that explains it. Basically, her school is doing this program where they're trying to grow the largest cabbage for the third grade. She got a cabbage plant she came home with. We planted it over there. Our dog ate it, so we had to start over from seed. And this is her cabbage. So we had to start this from seed. It's doing great. It's about to outgrow its protection that we've got here. Anyway, so going this way, this is where I've got a lot of other videos that detail like how we built all this. I think I could go on for hours, so I'm just going to show what we have now. But if you want to know more about how we built all of this and the details behind all of that, check out some of our other tours where I go into more detail. Right now, I'm just going to show what we have out in the garden in this current moment. So this bed is a mix of lettuce that we planted at the end of the season, or it was I guess at the end of February. We didn't know if it was going to be able to produce in time, and it's not looking like it's going to, but it's okay because it's all going to flower. And these flowers are really good to have around tomato plants and pepper plants because they help bring in pollinators. So you can see that our tomatoes and peppers are we planted directly in this bed amongst all of this. So this way we have this is the kids' bed. Ignore that one; it looks terrible. They're not doing a good job of weeding. We've got to figure out how to teach them how to weed. So over here we have lettuce, kale, and spinach. This is pretty much at the end of its life. It's starting to get too hot for it, mostly because this is in full sun during the day. So this just gets a lot of sun. So this is really at the end of its life. We're starting to harvest it. I mean, we've been harvesting it. We're starting to wrap up harvesting this section. Over here, on the right, we have our row of Smart Pots big bag beds. We have a whole video series on these, and in our app, it talks all about these. So check that out. But basically, these Smart Pots make it really easy to get started growing. They're fabric raised beds that allow air in from the sides. There's a lot of other benefits with them as well, but we've had a lot of success with these. And this one, I've got pole beans planted around this trellis here, Vietnamese cilantro here, which is a cilantro that grows in the summer, whereas regular cilantro bolts, and then some chives, some other herbs around. Um, Down here, this is Carrie's bed of strawberries she planted last week when I was out of town. I'll let her talk about those. You're supposed to you did a video on those without any audio, right?
No, so I did a whole video of it, but I chopped my head off during the whole thing because I put it on a tripod.
See, it's harder than it
Chopped
looks.
off.
It's harder than it looks.
Yes, I know.
We've got some spinach in here. Do we have any idea what that flower is? I don't know. We put a lot of random things in through here.
Something that of Mary's.
We have an
Check this
arch
out.
here. Here, zoom out so you can show this arch here. So this is an arch panel that we got. We got this arch from, this is a cattle panel we got from Tractor Supply. And we have pumpkins that are going to be growing up this, and they're going to be dangling down. Very small pumpkins because I don't have to build the whole sling things to hold them in place. So I'm doing very small pumpkins here. And then pole beans along here as well. This is just a way of trellising that we have here. This bed here is one of our salsa gardens of sorts, I guess. So it's onions around the perimeter. And then we have tomato, pepper. I've got a couple types of basil. This is a lime basil and a red basil here. In this bed over here, we've got a mix of stuff as well. I've got broccoli, beets, cilantro. Not even sure. I think this is arugula. This is arugula here. Which, by the way, Karen, I know you don't like arugula, but try this arugula flower. It's a milder flavor of arugula. And I didn't like arugula either, but I let my arugula go to flower.
It's actually not bad.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I didn't like the arugula leaves, but I like this. So, this is a bed where we're trying some experimentation in, where we planted a lot of the green sprouting broccoli, like really dense. So, unfortunately, most of it came to harvest time while I was in Seattle last week, and most of it's gone to flower. But so we missed our window a little bit, but we were able to harvest a lot of the greens, and we harvested a lot of the thinnings from here to use in stir fries. Over in this corner is more of the same. Another salsa bed here. Sun's going down, so I'm gonna start hurrying. So in this section through here, you're gonna start to see a mix of a lot of spinach, because in January I was tired of these beds being empty and we just threw spinach seeds everywhere. So this is the result of that. And then a lot of herbs that have just taken off. So this is catnip here. This is oregano. This is bee balm in the back. This here with the purple flowers is alfalfa that we were growing as a cover crop. I'm going to be going through this bed and turning a lot of this stuff over and putting summer crops in here like okra and southern cowpeas, which are black-eyed peas basically, and other things like that through here really soon, probably next week. Over here you can see more of the spinach we just kind of threw everywhere. And I really like how this experiment worked out. I mean, we planted spinach really dense. This is way more dense than you're supposed to, but there's such a short growing season for spinach here in the spring in Oklahoma that I felt like it was worth it to do this, because you really only have one harvest window anyway because it gets so hot and it all bolts. So by doing this, we were able to harvest a lot more than we normally were able to. And we had way more spinach than we could keep up with. Over here we have oreganos, Greek on the right, and hot and spicy on the left. This is sage. If you've never grown sage, let it go to flower, because these flowers are just amazing. They smell incredible. I wish I could capture this through video somehow, but yeah, these sage flowers smell incredible. They're really,
And they're beautiful.
yeah, and they attract a lot of bees. They're awesome. Over in this bed again, more spinach with cilantro mixed around with more herbs. I've got tomatoes mixed around here too. You can see a tomato hiding in here. And this is how we do companion planting. So we have just a mix of all sorts of stuff, and then we hide our tomatoes and our peppers and other things around those. So it's really hard for the pests to find them. We also have peas along all of these fences that you see here. So you can see some hanging here. If you've never had peas fresh out of the garden, that felt really awkward.
Eating it?
I went to take a bite and I just didn't go, yeah. They're incredibly sweet. They taste really good. You can eat them fresh right out of the garden. We put them in stir fries. Here's over here. That's all those hanging there. It's really hard to keep up with how many peas you get once they start producing. I mean, they produce that much. So over here we have more smart pot. Oh, I guess we didn't show this one. We have garlic over here, carrots mixed all around.
Elephant garlic too, right?
Here, yeah, elephant garlic. Here, come show this. So this is a broccoli stem that I harvested tonight. So this had a full head on it earlier. And what I did was I just harvested right here, cut it off at the base, and then it's going to develop side shoots now that we can continue to harvest off of. So it's a way to maximize your harvest from broccoli without having to rely on just one head. Because when I first started growing broccoli, I kind of assumed that once that one head produced, that it was done. And that's not the way it works. You continue to get side shoots, and the leaves are edible. Broccoli is way more valuable of a plant than I realized, because you can eat pretty much the whole plant. So anyway, that's one thing I want to mention about broccoli. Through here is a mix of smart pots these are all herbs that I've got from Prairie Wind Nursery. He has an extensive herb collection down there, and all the energy that I took from collecting football cards as a kid goes into doing this now, collecting herbs. So I've got a mix of all different types of herbs through here. We've got lime basil and lemon basil and all different types of basil and thymes and oreganos and cilantros and sages and just all sorts of stuff through here. So whenever we're cooking, I come out here and just pick random stuff from here. All this stuff is pretty young, so we haven't been picking from here too much. We've got the other developed stuff out in the garden we're pulling from, but here in about 2 or 3 months, this stuff will be really established and we'll be able to pull as much as we want from here. I also have tomatoes and stuff hidden through here, so I've got this patio variety of tomato. It's supposed to stay really small. I've got right here in the middle. Over here, I've got potatoes. They're in smart pots. I really like growing potatoes in smart pots because it makes them easy to harvest. You just dump the whole bag out and you can pull the potatoes out, so it makes it really, really easy. This is a giant smart pot here. We've got tomatoes and peppers in. We also have some squash back here that I want to mention. This is a squash variety from Korea. And I've been saying I'm going to get a blog post out for a while. I need to actually do it. So, Carrie, make me do it this weekend, please. Make me get this blog post out. There are 3 varieties of squash from Korea that we grow that have solid stems. And here's an example of one. I'm not even going to try and say the name. I'll put out the blog post. But basically, the idea is that squash vine borers are a big problem, especially here in Oklahoma. And what they do is they tunnel down into your squash. And they lay their eggs, and their eggs hatch, and then those larvae eat the squash from the inside. Well, the thing about these squash plants is they have a solid stem. So the squash vine borer adult isn't able to lay its eggs inside of it and it moves on to another plant. So this will solve half of your problems with squash plants. You'll still have squash bugs. Those are unavoidable. I have a whole section in the app that talks about some things you can do to help with those, but this will at least eliminate squash vine borers. So this is, yeah. So the rest of the stuff we have in this bag, again, just more basil. I have a lot of our herbs mixed around. That's to help with pest issues. These herbs put off a really strong scent, and pests find what they're looking for based on scent. So if you have a lot of herbs mixed around your vegetables, it makes it really hard for them to find what they're looking for. Back here, we have blackberries planted all along this row. And then our trellis here that they grow up, I need to make this taller because these things got out of control last year. But they're doing way better this year. I've also done a better job of pruning. Over on this side, we have our spinach that is on the east side of this shed. So this area is shaded in the afternoon, which is important because it's about 30 degrees cooler here in the afternoon than it is over there where I showed you the other greens before. So these greens, we have some stuff that's bolted, but for the most part, this is doing really well. And we did some experiments in here where we tried all different types of spinach. So I got each different row here is a different variety of spinach that we're trying because we're trying to find the best variety to grow as a replacement for tortilla strips. Hey, I just saw some chamomile that came up here. Check that out. Once you grow chamomile once, you're always going to have it because it just pops up everywhere. These little flowers here are the indicator. Okay, smell that. I know.
Oh gosh, that smells exactly like it.
Oh, it
Like
smells so
our
good.
oils that we have.
I know.
I love it.
Over here, this is one of our rainwater collection systems. Go check out our videos. Search our YouTube channel for rainwater collection or our website for rainwater collection, and you'll see a video that talks all about how we built this. But it's really nice having this all through here. Well, this is ours, but from here over is basically all for Roger. Roger's right here. Show everyone Roger. So this is Roger's bed. He looks grumpy. He's a spoiled rabbit. I mean, what other rabbit has an entire garden bed? But this is all stuff that we either feed to Roger or chop and throw over here into the compost. And the reason why is because compost is where we get all of our plant food. So if I come over here and show you. So here's just a handful of compost I put over there. This, 9 months ago was all a mix of pumpkins and grass clippings and wood chips and coffee grounds and stuff from this bed. And by throwing it all together in a pile in the right mix, you come away with this stuff that is pure plant food. And this combined with worm fertilizer, which is just worm poop basically, and the stuff that Robert puts out. Robert. Oh man, can this be like, what is that show where they just change the guy's name every so often? Was it The Office that did that? I feel like a couple shows have done this now. With Parks and Recreation, Larry and Jerry. I think Roger's going to become that way. It becomes Robert and then something else. We're getting a Jessica soon, by the way, a second rabbit. Anyway, I'm digressing. Whatever comes out of Roger over there, our rabbit, goes out in the garden as well. It's a great fertilizer to use. But that's why we have a rabbit, is because the first year that I started gardening, I used a lot of horse manure as fertilizer. And I came to find out that horses often eat from fields that are sprayed with herbicides that can go through and last for several years, through their manure into your soil, and it wrecked all my tomatoes. So I switched to not outsourcing any of my manure and just having rabbits to do it. Over here we have beans that are all throughout this bed. I need to go through and thin these down. We had a troop of Girl Scouts over, and this is the bed that I had them plant. So I think they did a pretty good job, though. I mean, look at it. It doesn't look too bad. But we need to go through and thin them down a little bit and add in some other stuff. Let me mention too in the compost bin. I have smart pots over here. Oh yeah, it's a good opportunity for me to talk about this whole idea. So these are kiddie pools that I set the smart pots into so I can irrigate the smart pots from below. So I just fill these up to a couple inches in the morning and then let them sit throughout the day. Make sure you get some sort of mosquito BTI dunks. Do we have links to those in the app at all? Do we have mosquitoes as a pest in the app?
No, but they are my...
We should add those probably. Let's add mosquitoes, and then we'll add these BTI dunks. So check the app like in 2 weeks probably. We'll have that update out that includes all the stuff we're talking about. And it'll have links to these BTI dunks. But this is a great way to grow smart pots because it's you don't have to irrigate every day. You can just fill this thing up, every couple of days, and the water will suck in the smart pot from below and saves you a lot of time. On the compost bin too, I have a guide and a video that shows all about how we made this, and it's on the website. If you go on our website and search for compost, you can find that. Over here, we have this spinach here was all planted in the fall, so it bolted earlier than the stuff that was planted in the spring. It's all pretty much bolted by now. I need to pull this up and start planting some other stuff. This is again on the east side of the house, so it gets shade in the afternoon. Over here, spinach that was planted in the spring. I haven't done a very good job of watering this side of the house, so it's starting to bolt a little bit faster than the other stuff. That's something that can happen too. If you don't keep up with watering on these greens when it gets hot, that can really amplify how quickly they bolt. So if you keep up with watering, it'll help keep the temperature down on the roots, and that'll help keep it from bolting. We also have a mix of mint all through here. Each one of these containers is a different type of mint that looks like it needs some water too. So I need to move the sprinkler thing over here and get that set up. Over here, we have our worm bin. I don't think I've shown this before, but basically it's just a box I built out of pallet scrap wood, and then all through here I've got paper shreddings from junk mail and coconut core husks that were a couple years old and retired, and just all sorts of kitchen scraps and compost that we mix in and stuff, and there's worms all throughout here. I have burlap sacks that I lay on top of it to help insulate it in both the cold and the heat, and then I have this lid that I put on top of it as well. But that's basically it. And I have these hay bales on the side, again, just to help insulate it and to help regulate the temperature a little bit. I built this at the end of last summer, so I'm going to find out this summer if they're actually able to survive the summer heat of Oklahoma in this system. I'm hoping they will, and that's why I added in this other stuff and the burlap and everything else. Another thing you can do when it starts to get hot for an outdoor worm bin is you can add in frozen plant scraps, and that'll help with cooling it down. So just every couple of days, take some plant scraps that you would normally just throw directly in here, put it in a baggie in the freezer, take that out, throw it in here, and help cool down the worm bin. So that leads us to over here. This is our giant rainwater collection system. Again, I've got a video that details everything about this, so go on our website and look at rainwater collection, or on YouTube and search for that, and you'll find it as well. But that leads us back over here, and that's basically it. So I want to take a few minutes to talk about our app. If you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, please check it out. I don't know if this is going to show. Let's try this and see if this works. So I'm going to pull it up. Is that showing on the camera? Cool. So this is our app that Carrie and I made. along with our kids and some other people that helped out. But it has a list of vegetables you can grow, and you can choose whatever you want to grow. So I'm going to choose bell peppers. It's going to give you exact dates for when you can plant. Right now, it's giving me dates for Seattle, because I was in Seattle last week. I'm going to update my location. So Oklahoma City now. Come back. So these are the dates for bell peppers, for when you would start them indoors, for when you would move them outside. It shows you all the information about how to grow it. You see here all the transplant information about how to harvest, how to cook with it. If there's any blog posts on our website about that, which there are here, it pulls them in down below. And we have links to buy things on Amazon all throughout the app. And this is how you can help support us. Anything you buy through these links, or in this Amazon button up on the top right, actually, will go towards helping us build free software that helps you grow food. So you can choose companions once you come back up to the top. This shows you all of the plants that grow really well next to that vegetable, as well as the things that do not grow well next to each vegetable. You can see the pests that attack each vegetable, and then you can tap on the pest and read about how to treat it. We have links again to Amazon products that we use. We're not going to recommend any pesticides, though. Everything we use is considered organic. So for aphids, we're going to recommend either spraying them off or with ladybugs. For cucumber beetles, we're going to recommend traps, things like that. On this How to Start tab, we have a list of all the things you need to do to get started. I'm not going to go into all these details, but you can tap on one. You can see it walks you through everything you need to do to get started growing food. On the Critters tab, we have all of the pests from throughout all the vegetables listed here in one place. And then we also have beneficials listed. So it's really important to track these as well. That's what helps keep you keep the pests away. And then lastly, on the About tab, we have a story of our garden. And this is the before and after photo of our garden here. And we have links to all of the books that we use to help build this app, and to some of our favorite YouTube channels as well down here. So anyway, the sun is going down, so I think that is our cue. We got a tour knocked out, finally. We're going to try and do these every month. I'm really bad about doing videos right now. It's really hard to code and shoot videos and edit them. I'm just not finding time to do it all. If you're a video editor, if you have video editing skills and you want to help us out, reach out to me. Seriously. Dell@seedtospoon.net. Email me. Volunteer to help us. I mean, seriously, we need help. Help us. It's just me and Carrie and a couple of family members and our 9 and 7-year-old running this ship. Yeah. Let us know what we can do to make the app better. We have a lot of things we're working on adding. We're going to have a favorites feature coming out over the next few weeks. So let you choose all of your favorite vegetables and then filter down to just show those. We're going to have extra information for each card in the detail screen. So you can tap on the card to see more about whatever that is. So if it's like number per square, it'll explain what that is. Or if it's watering, it'll explain some overall watering concepts. Things like that. We have a lot of other stuff we're working on. We just got back from a conference in Seattle where we met with some Microsoft engineers, and we learned how to build a tool that will let you take a picture of an insect and it'll tell you what it is. So we already have it working with cucumber beetles. We've just got to get it working with the rest of the vegetables in our app, and we'll get that out hopefully in the next few months. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching, and let us know what we can do to make our app better. And if there's anything you want to see more of that I showed today that I didn't go into detail on, let me know. We can make a video on it. So thanks for watching.